We decided we're gonna start saying bless your soul. It's not any better, but
No. Is your mom coming?
I do not know. I thought she was.
It's the second week I brought her a pot drop, so are you gonna see her tomorrow?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Captain on the bridge.
If she doesn't show, take them next pot
Okay.
drop. Please.
So Rachel and I realized like yesterday, well this morning, we were about to like do our, I grabbed the wrong lesson. I grabbed extra of
I
last.
think there's gonna be, she forgot hers, hope you remember your answers.
I had an issue with
You rushed through them because you had some,
I did.
We did what we were supposed to.
you did what you're supposed to?
Yeah.
You,
We
the,
did.
the questions?
That really pretty much ensures I'm gonna be answering these questions.
I'm definitely phoning a friend. That's what I said. Like if I don't get through some of these, I'm phoning a friend.
I don't feel comfortable with how I answered the thought questions.
Me either.
They're thought questions.
I know, but I wasn't thinking.
Where you come back to when you're thinking, after you've had
I don't
coffee.
know when that's gonna happen next. I mean.
That could be a minute from now, we're like 10 years.
I'm gonna do work till today. 3 o'clock. I was gonna stay until 4, but I was like, no.
I
I'm done.
barely made it to 4.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I'm
It's
done.
warm in here. Like really warm.
We have free movie channels for the weekend, so I was watching TV all day.
Like always cold in here.
Did you work today?
Let's not talk about football either at some point. No. Come on, I'm gonna fire my team. What is up with that?
I was like, you were so. I was like, wait a minute, what just happened?
So I did look at the schedule and I thought I could potentially lose the last 4 games. And then I thought, well, I'm playing Addison, so I'll potentially lose the last 3. And then she beat me, so
I would like to point out that the only reason why I won was because Tracy didn't switch her quarterbacks because her other quarterback beat me by like at least 10 points. So had she switched out those quarterbacks,
I played Tracy one of these last weeks. Hopefully she doesn't change anything.
Everyone keeps getting hurt or, oh, they played.
and then it's hard to switch them out. I had almost everybody on bye, so it was like, all right, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, my
And
big
then
bye
CeeDee
week
Lamb
was
did
last
not have a
week,
good
yeah.
week, and he's questionable currently. They're saying he's likely to play, but I'm like, he's likely to play. That's tomorrow, y'all.
Yeah, then you're having to, I can't stand that. Well, my running back, my RB2, he was in a blowout game, I guess, and so they hardly played him.
At least Aaron Jones is gonna be off tomorrow.
Man, I don't want to play that guy.
And my guy got injured.
Burrow.
Well, him and, my running back, or the guy we had filling in the,
You get to the end of the year, it's like, it's rough. 7. It might be rough on you guys, answering these questions.
I'm trying. I'm really trying.
So the girls aren't here?
Which girls?
The littles.
The littles? No. Rumor has it they're coming later tonight. I guess that's still the plan.
I was hoping we'd see the baby tonight.
No.
so we can come by at like 3 in the morning. She'll be up.
3:30. Yeah, somewhere there.
I don't know if anyone else will. I mean, Michelle probably will.
Well, you knock on the door loud enough, the dogs will be up, and then then everybody will be up, and there you go. Well, about
We
like
can just tell you.
Because we were sick, so when I grabbed, I grabbed 17.
What'd you say?
I don't think so, Tim. But you can.
Okay, well, Chloe's not here yet. Rachel, do you have a phone on you?
Hers is almost dead.
Yours almost dead. Addison, you got your phone on you?
I do. Are you gonna be able to do YouTube?
Yeah, I got it going right now. So I could.
Also with my notes, my class is on my phone tonight, so.
Oh boy.
I'll just go.
I can do
Okay.
the wheel.
Well, okay, Catherine, if you want to do the wheel.
Yeah, hers does the clappy thing too, so it's all good. Same thing.
But it also still has the same people
that.
from.
She
from
may,
last time I
she
did
may
it.
need to Google Answers though.
Well, no.
Hey, Mr. Glenn.
Mr. Glenn's here, all right.
Yeah, some of these thought questions are.
They're good
I don't know,
thought,
some of these from the text too are
They're-
kinda like,
great questions. Mr. Glenn, at the appropriate time, can you do the closing prayer tonight? Thank you.
So does she need to change the wheel so multiple,
No, you just keep the
No,
same,
just
you
keep
just keep the same
everybody's
name
name
and you just keep spinning the wheel. You don't have to take names off.
I'm the wheel spinner,
Yeah,
you don't have
but-
to worry about it.
I know
But it's a
before you were
liberty. If you're
thinking
spinning the wheel, you can do the wheel however you want to do it. If you just want to put Laura's name on there for all the answers, I mean, it's up to you. Well,
I need to add another.
either or, I mean, however you want to do it.
Just put a first name on there. When you call Laura, I'm gonna point to
I
her.
already did.
I said, when he said put Laura, and I said Laura R.
I know I said we were going to get started in a few. Maybe we'll give it another minute. And we're missing a couple of people. Are they on their way, Ed? You don't know? Well,
A lot better. Still pretty winded, but a lot better.
Did you enjoy having Annie,
What?
did you enjoy having Annie, like, change your bed or something like that, or? Isn't that what you said, or?
Tighter.
Sunday morning they tried that and it didn't work. So we came home and Annie was running like crazy and she's like, oh, it didn't work.
Trying to watch the sermon, and she's getting into the closet and pulling out socks, and she's up in bed, and she's my arm. I can't concentrate. It was interesting.
I find it better to watch it after the fact, because I know when I pick that time, that nothing's gonna bother me and I can just watch it then and not be disturbed, because like you, other times I put it on and, you know, and, yeah.
Then somebody's ringing the doorbell. Dogs are freaking out.
Dirt.
For Green Garden.
Did you hear that story? This was last week sometime. Chloe was letting the dogs out. So I don't remember which dog was outside. It was just one of them. The other two were inside. A car pulls up. Did you guys order DoorDash? And once they said that, they were asking Chloe. Dogs started going crazy. All the dogs started going crazy. The one outside and then the ones inside. And Chloe's like, she couldn't talk to the driver. She's like, no. I think they figured it out. I don't know.
Well, during a clothing giveaway, somebody ordered DoorDash or whatever. We were up here doing something, I don't know, but it was somebody from Green Gardens that was up here doing DoorDash, and we're like, did something?
It's like, how do you not?
I have no idea.
The sign is over there.
Really?
Well, it's kind of delayed. Maybe you should call. She's gonna try calling.
I think the door's getting ready.
Give him a
Trying to
minute.
get that key out of her hand.
You know, I keep looking at that clock. That clock says it's 6 minutes after. My cell phone says 6:02. Does anybody else?
6:02.
All right, so it's not as late as I feel like it is. Okay. So if you're watching this now or in the future, we're running a pinch behind because there's some people that should be here that aren't here, and they're related to me. So I know they should be here.
It's like on Sunday morning when Chuck's up there waiting for his mother to say.
His
something.
mother.
Yeah. I was trying to be a little bit more tactful.
I don't have that.
Yeah, watch yourself.
Well,
Has something to do with that filter.
I heard the door
That was, I think it was being locked.
It's my Christian duty
To,
to say
to,
hello to everybody.
to say hello. Well, so that's why Chuck calls you out, because you're,
Yeah.
The caramel one is really good.
Caramel and almond, yeah, that'll work. It's almonds.
He didn't care for the chocolate, but she ate it.
did
She
it,
knew the frosting was different.
did it calm her down any?
He gave it to her, like, right before I left.
Hey, Mr. Glenn,
She was
when you
too
say
interested in the
prayer,
wrappers.
just pray for my Uncle Roy. He has COVID.
Be all right.
Yeah, yeah,
That one,
yeah, that one.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she clicked it, and I was like in it, and then, like, what normally would take her like 2 licks and it'd be down, she like smashed it all into my hand, she's like slowly working it.
And him and I usually go back and forth when I post my jokes. But he hasn't been feeling it, so he hasn't been responding.
I wondered, because I hadn't seen any comments from him, so.
I think I
Oh,
saw
I
he
didn't
said that he
realize
was
I
sick.
did put the angry faces on.
I did, and you know, I tried to read him with an angry inflection. It just wasn't working. I mean, yeah, it just
I noticed your mother's been, what do you call it, putting things a lot lately.
Yeah.
Is that somebody knocking? Did you lock?
She locked the door, but they opened the door, protected the door open.
yeah. So we're gonna get started. We're going to. I stalled as long as I could. We're probably gonna get angry comments on the YouTube. Don't. No positive. Just be positive here. All right. We are in Genesis chapters 19 and 20, based on hearing several people either forgot their lessons or forgot to do their lessons or whatever. Might be a short class tonight, but we'll see. We can talk through it. You're done. You remembered them. All right. Good job. So Genesis chapters 19 and 20. God destroys a couple of cities. He actually destroys more than just 2 cities. It's the cities on the plains. But the 2, Sodom and Gomorrah, are named here, destroyed for their wickedness. God saved somebody. Who did he save in his family? Lot and his family. And then Abraham, he messes up again, second time he's done this, but he passes off his wife Sarah as his sister to protect himself from danger, and then God intervenes on his behalf. So we'll discuss all these things through these couple of chapters. So we're going to flip the sheet over. We're going to look at these fill in the blanks. I'm excited for these because this section may or may not be where that trick question was at. We'll see. So, Catherine, I think you're in charge of the wheel tonight. Is that right? All right. If you want to.
Fun it,
All right. And it goes to.
rainy.
All right. Granny. You get Genesis chapter 19, verses 1 and 2.
Now the 2 angels came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. When Lot saw them, he rose to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, Hear now, my lords, please turn into your servant's house and spend the night and wash your feet. Then you may rise early and go on your way. And they said, No, but we will spend the night in the open square.
All right. Very good. Everybody get that one? Those two.
Flashback
Those two.
to Judges. Who have-
Oh, yeah. And that open square. Yeah. I was thinking about this. There's places in some cities you just don't want to stay the night, and you don't want to be in the open square here. Also, we talked a little bit about that bowing. Remember, we talked about that, it was last week, right? Abraham bowed when the angels came to him. So that was a sign of respect. Lot was showing them this sign of respect as well. All right, very good. So you spun the wheel already. You're on top of it.
Take it.
I don't hear the sound effects, though.
I know.
Maybe it throws me off a little bit. But
Thank you, I want the cheer.
all right, so Genesis 19, verses 24 and 25 goes to Laura.
Then the Lord rained brimstone and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. So he overthrew those cities, all the plain, all the inhabitants of the cities, and what grew on the ground.
All right, excellent, very good. Everybody got that? All right, we're moving right along. The wheel is spinning. This is like a creaky door.
It's the creepy version.
It's a creepy wheel. Whoa. And listen to that
Here you
fancy
go.
schmancy music.
Mr. Glenn.
Mr. Glenn, you get Genesis 19:29.
And it came to pass when God destroyed the cities of the plain, that God remembered Abraham and sent Lot out of the midst of the overflow, and when he overthrew the cities in which Lot had dwelt.
All right, excellent. Everybody got that? The cities of the plain. All right, very good. Moving right along, verse number 3 of Genesis 20 goes to.
Sorry, I was adjusting the settings.
Oh, that's all right.
Jody,
All right, Jody, Genesis 20, verse 3.
But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night, and said to him, Indeed, you are a dead man, because of the woman whom you have taken, for she is a man's wife.
All right, excellent. And everybody get that one? All right, very good. Then the last one. The last one goes to, this would be Genesis 20, verse 16.
Laura H.
All right, Laura, Genesis 20:16.
Then to Sarah he said, Behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Indeed, this vindicates you before all who are with you and before everybody. Thus she was rebuked.
All right, excellent, very good. Did everybody get that one? Even Addison? Addison, did you get that one? Yeah, okay. The ESV words are different.
I've learned with that section to go through.
Oh, man, that was the tricky one. So you have the ESV, right? Do you have it open to it?
Yeah, what verse was that?
Verse 25 or 16. There was just a textual variant, so it sounds different a little bit.
To Sarah he said, Behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. It is a sign of your innocence in the eyes of all who are with you, and before everyone you are vindicated.
Yeah, so the last word was vindicated. Man, I was hoping to trip you up on that one. So if I do a trick question, what you're saying is don't do it in that first section. All right, I'm going to put a note down there. All right, very good. So I think we all got those. Let's move into these terms. Did anybody have any problems with these definitions this week? I thought they were a little bit easier. No, I thought they were simpler. All right,
was thinking.
that's the back side of the sheet here.
I thought I saved a different.
Granny,
I saved a different sign.
All right, Granny, you get to define for us the word angels.
I put a messenger.
A messenger. That is a great definition. Anybody got anything different?
a messenger specifically of God.
Okay. Okay.
Representative too.
Ambassador.
Ambassador. All right.
I put a supernatural, natural being who serves God.
Okay. So it could be, but not always. Could just be a human messenger. Could be.
Yeah, because
Could,
prophet was listed in that too, prophet
Yeah.
and priest.
yeah. But in this context, you'd be absolutely correct. You know, these were angelic heavenly beings that were on a mission for God. Glenn, did you have something?
Well, I just had a supernatural, a heavenly being a little higher in dignity than man.
Okay, excellent. Very good. All right, so we'll go on to the next term. Oh, that was.
I said, remind me later.
Buffering.
This would be the word lingered. I thought it would maybe be like a rap version or something. Doing
Yeah, I see.
All right, Laura, lingered.
To question or hesitate, be reluctant.
Excellent. Anybody got anything different?
And
That's
add to that to tarry, to wait or delay.
okay.
Reluctant to leave.
Reluctant to leave. All right, very good. Anything else? Anything extra? I almost put exactly verbatim what you put, so shows me we're all probably using the same dictionaries, but that's okay. That's all right.
I get mine off of eSword.
Okay.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not.
Yeah, so I think eSword probably would be connected with Strong's dictionary, and that's the first one I typically look at. All right, Catherine, if you want to spin the wheel, and we're going to talk about joking. It's a joke, Mom. Say that all the time at home. Anyway,
It's me, and I didn't remember this particular answer, but, I don't know, making laughter, saying something funny, it wasn't in the text, so I had
okay.
to use my own.
Joking, was it?
Yeah,
Joking is it's in the text.
is it?
I don't remember what verse it was in. 1914. So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law who had married his daughters and said, "Get up out of this place, for the Lord will destroy the city." But to the sons-in-law he seemed to be
He thought
joking.
that he wasn't telling the truth, or
Yeah.
he was trying to fool them.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
that's a
Play, toy with.
to mock, play, toy with. Okay, that's a good way to put it. They thought he was,
Messing around.
yeah, messing around. I included the word jest, or in this case, he would have been jesting.
Truly just.
Yeah. All right. Everybody got that? Chloe, you got that? Okay, we'll go with that. All right, spinning the wheel. I really hope Chloe or Rachel gets this one.
Verbatim. Granny, again.
Granny again. You get the word integrity.
I didn't even have to look this one
I
up.
didn't either.
Well, well,
That's
well.
Yeah.
Well, do you have an answer though? Do you want
doing the right thing, no one is watching.
Okay.
Sincerity.
to? Okay, sincerity, upright. All right. Is that what you guys got? I just.
You're joking, right?
You jest.
All right. Anybody got anything different or add to that?
Moral principles and ethical.
Okay.
The Blue Letter Bible said completeness, fullness, innocence, and simplicity.
Okay.
Well, I had a quality or state of being of sound moral principles, uprightness, honesty, and sincerity.
Looked like you jotted your note a little sideways there too.
Well, I
I've been.
literally put down doing the right thing when no one else was.
So, that's great. So you put another definition on the.
To show we do learn
Nobody
something
should-
on Sunday morning.
Yes. You should get that answer wrong.
And we do listen to the girls.
Yeah.
They are heard.
I jotted down in here the innocence of one's mind. So yeah. So, I guess that would be all inclusive to everything that we've been talking about. All right, so that's going to bring us up to the last word, the word fear. This is what some of the young people feel when the wheel spins, and they're wondering if their name's going to get called.
Addison.
Oh, Addison. All right, fear, Addison.
Said terror, awesome or terrifying thing, like an object causing fear, respect, reverence, piety, and revere.
All right, excellent. Very good. Anybody got anything different? So probably would depend on the context in that it's written. Chloe?
So I had added, I also got terror, but then I had added, or in a sense of fearing God, it would be respect.
Okay. Yeah. So I included the word respect in there. So respect, reverence, piety. You think about piety towards God. Oops.
I had those things too, but I also had dreadful.
I have that too, that moral reverence.
So maybe to dread something. Yeah. All right. Very good. So we're going to move on. If there's nothing else, we're going to move on to the questions from the text. Everything's getting a little bit more difficult, right? Just wait till we get to those thought questions.
Can't wait.
Addison again.
Addison again. All right. You can't wait. All right. Question 1, Addison. What did the men of Sodom want?
I said they wanted Lot to let them in so that they could harm the visiting men who were angels in his house.
Ooh, okay, so say that again, please.
That's the
They
G word.
wanted Lot to let them in so that they could harm the visiting men who were angels in his house.
Okay, okay, that's a good answer. That's a great answer. Did everybody put what Addison put?
Not so
I put something a little different.
Hers is a little more PG.
Well,
Yeah, I would
okay,
Gloss over it.
okay,
Yeah.
They wanted to know the men kernel.
okay.
That's what I put.
The first people I worded it,
Just spit it
It's
out.
somebody wanted to say, and I mean,
this one I put no currently.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I
They
wrote
wanted to know them.
yeah.
Know
it. In
them.
a way that
Okay, so I didn't put that because I put from verses 1 through 5. I said the men, it would have been the angels, wanted to spend the night in the open square.
Oh, okay, because I thought
It's
you meant
verses
the men
1
of the
through.
city.
See, I just said the
Yeah.
men, but it's verses 1 through 5.
Right, and that's in there.
Yeah.
And verse 5.
Yep, verse 5 is where that is.
Okay. Okay. So,
Well,
well, there's your trick question. So there you go.
We'll go with that.
So we may know them.
To spend the night in the open square. That is the official answer.
That's basically what I put, so that's basically what I put. I put
Okay,
to
well, you
be-
got it right.
To be in the open lots.
the
They-
men of Sodom wanted to do depraved things. The angels wanted to spend the night in the open.
Right, the
They
visitor,
were-
you said the men of
they
Sodom
were-
in the question, which is why I was like.
This is the official sheet. We're going by this
The
answer.
official sheet is wrong.
Whatever.
You got your soul.
Chloe and I are right. You had to take on Chloe too. Anyway, that's a great answer. I
It works.
tricky. So these
I like
questions
it.
from
I
the
like that.
text,
Good thought question.
trick.
I had something that's a little different.
Okay.
To put it delicately, they wanted to be good friends and take them to a carnival.
It was a little.
I also had the other answer,
That they wanted to spend the night in the open square? No, not that it. Everybody else's answer. Okay. All right. Well, teacher needs to save himself here. We're going to move on. That's right. Question 2 goes to. That's good though that we were able to discuss this, talk about it anyway.
Laura H.
All right, Laura. What family members escaped with Lot?
His wife and his 2 daughters.
All right. I think I was gonna make a joke. I did get that. I got that.
I actually said his 2 daughters and almost his wife.
Well, she made
Well-
it a city, but
Well, she escaped.
Yeah, she's still.
Yeah, there was problems later.
I mean, she didn't
Uh,
fully escape, because I'm just saying, if she
Well.
had fully escaped, she'd still be with them, but.
Well, verses 15 through 17. I mean, we know later some problems.
Lot and 2 daughters.
Lot and-
Looked back.
And 2 daughters. It is possible. There's a couple of theories or a couple of ideas from this. I just want to throw them out there, and you can think about it. It's possible that he had more daughters
Yeah, we discussed this.
yeah.
because he spoke to his sons-in-law, verse 14, and then commentators say, well, based on verse 15, the ways they said, take the daughters that are with you. Anyway, but then there's another side. Some people say, well, ancient people were espoused, and then after some time passed, then they would consummate the marriage
Well,
later.
That was one thing I
So,
thought about too, between the questions of, when the men of Sodom were knocking on the door and Lot saying, take my 2 daughters who don't know a man, but in the one verse it says he's
They're
talking to
married.
his sons-in-law.
yeah.
So it's like, okay, are those the same daughters that he left
So,
with?
so there's 2 trains of thought there. There's 2 theories behind that he had more
See,
daughters.
Because they also say anybody that you have in the town, like
Right.
friends or your
Right.
family,
Right.
gather your family. So, I mean, I said, I bet he had more, and these were the 2 youngest.
That sounded kind of strange. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. Ain't nothing worth arguing over or anything like that, but so you won't fail this class if you said something a little different. Anyway, unlike the first question that clearly everybody was wrong, right, Chloe? Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes.
get my name out.
All right,
before we
so
go with
let's
all
move
that.
on. Question 3
It's me again.
goes to, all right, goes to Laura Raymond this time. What happened to the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah?
They were destroyed, and smoke rose up like the smoke of a furnace.
All right, very good. Anybody get anything, put anything different or added to that?
Destroyed with fire by God.
Destroyed with fire by God, okay. I included God overthrew them. I mean, the emphasis there is God did it, right? Sometimes you watch some of these modern shows and then I mean, I know it says there was, you know, rain, fire, hail from,
Meteors,
yeah, but people today will say, you know, they'll just attribute everything to nature. All right, we're going to move on to question number 4.
Don't make mine, because I didn't like my answer on this one.
ESV is the
Fire and brimstone, okay.
Close. Another Laura.
Whoa. Are you two the only ones on the wheel? I mean, I was kidding earlier when I said, all right, Laura Hopcroft, you get question number 4. What sin did Lot's daughters commit and what was the result?
They laid with their father, and each had a son, Moab and Ben-Ammi.
All right, very good. Did everybody get that?
I also added that they got their dad drunk.
Yeah, so I guess I could have said sins, right? They got him drunk and then they committed incest with him. And then the result was they had children. You had Moab, who was the father of the Moabites, and then you had Ami, something like that. Amorites.
These simple things. Suddenly we have more pagan nations.
I put evil consequences of sin. The Moabites and the Amorites, both enemies of Israel,
Yeah.
oppressors. I mean,
Which it's isn't
So
it?
sad.
It's ironic though, isn't it, that they were relatives
Yeah.
of Israel. They were distant relatives.
I was trying to remember, because I know in one of the classes in the last few years, we had a discussion about this, and it's like, what were his daughters thinking? Did they think that the entire world was destroyed, and that
They
they
must
were the
have.
only ones that were gonna repopulate the earth? Or, I mean,
Well, if they only knew their life in Sodom and Gomorrah,
yeah,
They
I mean, they weren't a kid,
depending
they
on
could
how
have
young
looked
they
out and
were.
saw, you know, that wasn't so.
They
I
were
mean,
young,
depending
so.
on,
well,
Well, they were going to
They had-
intermingle
they
with
had-
the.
they had left family and you know,
Yeah, so
so there was still family out
so
in the
later Abraham has
fields.
gets a daughter for Isaac that's coming up in a future class. So that was from relatives, and so they would. I mean, it sounds weird, but they would marry.
because they ended up going to
Distant.
Zoar first.
Yeah,
And then to
And
the
then-
mountains.
yeah.
So they had to have known, because the angels told Lot
Yeah,
that we
I think
can't
they
do
were
anything
just-
until you get there.
just
So-
think they were trying to keep it in the bloodline.
Living in a cave.
I just think that they were cave people. They were. I was going to say cavemen, but cave.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, here, take them, you know?
that irritates me too.
The-
Yeah.
Well, that's that culture. It was the way women were treated like property. You see but that's going to bring us up to the thought question. So I'll save the question that I had in. I mean, was there really any big difference between what Abraham did and what Lot did? But we'll talk about that because that's coming up. All right. So thought questions. Wait. No, we do. We got to do 5. All right. So we got to do question 5 here. Oh, yeah, we've already said that, right? The Ammonites and the Moabites, they were enemies of Israel. Real quick, Ruth, remember Ruth later on? Do you remember where Ruth, she was a Moabitess, yeah. So interesting, still related, and came back and she's part of Jesus' genealogy. All right, who does question 5 go to? Chuck, all right. Chuck, is this the first time answering?
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
First time caller. Long time listener.
A long-time listener. That's good. All right, so who did Abimelech take, and how did Abimelech respond to his dream the next morning?
Sarah is who he took. Confronted Abraham, and then gave him sheep, oxen, servants, restored Sarah as his wife, gave him land to dwell in, and gave 1,000 pieces of silver.
excellent, very good. Everybody got that, pretty much? I mean, I think
He was angry, and his servants were afraid.
okay, well, he was angry. His servants were afraid. So how did his servants know what happened?
He told
He
them.
told them.
Yeah, so the next morning he pulls them all together and he's like, this is the dream I had. And
But also, he responded with fear and belief in God in his dream, and he was obedient. I mean, like, he did the right thing by, I mean, he believed his dream.
Yep.
What God was telling him.
okay, excellent.
And I also put that he rebuked Sarah. He rebuked them both. So he basically said to Abimelech, what were you thinking?
Yeah, so Abimelech said that to Abraham. Yeah,
Yeah.
basically, yeah,
And then he also rebuked Sarah.
yeah. Okay, Glenn, did you have
Well,
something?
it's basically the same thing he
Yeah.
said. He went to Abraham and asked for an explanation. How could you do this?
Yeah, yeah. And then he did restore Sarah's honor, right, and reputation in front of everybody.
And also gave Abraham some things that are symbols of honoring him.
Yeah,
Kind of like livestock.
yeah, yeah. Lots of it, right? I mean, not just money, but all those gifts that he gave.
Allowed him to stay in the land. So look, the plains out there, you can stay anywhere you want.
So I also, well, we'll
Yeah,
talk about this a little bit. What?
Making him like, leave my lands.
Yeah, so we'll get into, we'll talk a little bit more about this here in just a few minutes. So let's move into the thought questions. This is the section everybody's looking forward to tonight.
Especially Chloe.
Okay, Chloe's really excited for these, and Laura Raymond is. Question 1 will go to Chloe.
That's the easiest one.
How is Lot's wife an example? Well, so did you, well, actually, Luke 17, verse 32 doesn't help us a whole lot, does it? No, because, well, does anybody remember what it says?
Remember
Remember
Yeah.
her.
So, yeah, Jesus says, remember Lot's wife. All right, Chloe, you're phoning a paper. Can you read the,
After it would have helped.
well, I mean, you can feel free to read anything. Can you read the writing?
Just the first part. What does she teach us?
Don't turn back to your old life.
Okay, don't turn back to your old life. All right, very good. That's the summary of it.
Yes,
right?
Also added, do what you're told.
Yeah.
Do what you're told.
It's a
Okay,
matter
that's
of
another. That's a
Following
great.
what God tells you to.
Yeah.
So if God says get up and go, you don't look back for what was left behind because God's leading you somewhere else.
Yeah. So I just put a 3-word answer. Don't look back. That's essentially.
I thought
Yeah.
of Luke 9:62 about the hand being plowed.
So I wrote that down in my notes, and I was going to talk about that. That reminded me, there was 3 men, right, that came to Jesus on the road, and they said, "Oh, we'll follow you. We want to be followers of you." And then that last guy, this was the very last guy, he's like, "Well, let me go home and say goodbye." And then you remember Jesus' response? Person,
Bury the dead.
no,
one
person
does.
that puts their hand to the plow.
Yeah.
You know, you need to be looking ahead. You can't be looking backwards. It sounds kind of harsh, doesn't it? I mean, it seems like a reasonable request if somebody says, well, hey, you know, I'll leave everything and I'll follow you, but let me go say bye to my family. So why would Jesus tell them, don't put your hand to the plow and look backwards?
Because a lot of times the world wants to drag you back down. So,
I think Jesus knew. Jesus knew if that guy would return home and said bye,
He didn't come back.
yeah, he wouldn't have come back. They would have talked him out of it. They would have.
you know,
So, if you know to do the right thing, do the right thing. Push forward.
so I also added, when you're baptized, you were cleansed of your old ways and you walk a brand new life. Don't go back.
There's another cross-reference I jotted down. Kind of reminded me. It's an example from the Apostle Paul, Philippians 3, verses 12 through 14. Philippians 3, 12 through 14. Maybe somebody could turn over there and read that for us. If we got a volunteer.
not that I have already attained or am already perfected, but I press on, that I may lay hold of that for which Christ Jesus has also laid hold on me. Brethren, I do not count myself to have apprehended, but one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind, and reaching forward to those things which are ahead. I press towards the goal for the prize of the upward call of God in Christ Jesus.
So forgetting the past and looking forward to the goal. But sometimes people have challenges, don't they, letting go of the past. And it seems to be a problem with Lot's wife.
Well, and we had talked a little bit about maybe if they had left family behind, she might be looking back thinking she left children behind.
It would be hard.
I mean, and if
But don't sometimes people do that as a Christian? Shouldn't people do that as a Christian?
absolutely.
You become a Christian and you have worldly family, you know, what comes first? The family or God? You know, so you got to put God first. And that, I mean, there's a whole lot, you know, Jesus said, remember Lot's wife. I mean, he probably couldn't list everything because she teaches us a whole lot. It also shows us the very real human side where you get sad, you get attached to family, or maybe she just had placed a big arts and craft order and she got her art room in her house being destroyed, and she was, that's a joke. I'm joking.
I jokingly
So-
said, oh, my Shein order is all burning up.
But it could be material possessions that she had to leave behind. And it had to be in a hurry. And friends, you know that, friends. It was in a hurry. It was like today people talk about, well, if things go bad, you know, you're going to grab a bug out bag and you're going to leave and leaving everything behind. Could you do it? And people get, what's that? Yeah, the bug out bag. Even Lot tarried, didn't he? So it wasn't,
Just grabbed it and
yeah.
said, let's go.
Yeah, you don't have time to pack. You don't have time to run around. And no, you need to get out now. And it was a dire situation. So both Lot and his wife can teach us a lot of stories. But
I think she's an
obey.
example of disobedience and God will punish.
Yeah, I mean, obey. Don't look back. And she looked back. It's really sad. Okay, question number 2. I think Rachel wants this one. I don't
I'll
know.
see what I can do.
All right. She's no, don't call me.
Phoning a friend, here you
Ah.
haven't answered one, go.
Well, just for fun, do you have an answer?
Which one?
For question 2, is there a difference between Lot's offering his
Okay, I'll
daughters?
answer this one.
All right, so Lot offered his daughters to the men of the city, and
The remaining questions, no.
right, and so Abraham offered Sarah to Abimelech.
He didn't offer him.
Yeah,
Her.
I had said he didn't
Oh.
offer her.
Yeah. he
Okay,
didn't offer
well,
her.
He just didn't,
That's
they
what-
just
This is
didn't
Abimelech
speak
took
up.
her. Yeah.
Nobody spoke up when she was taken.
okay, this is why it's a thought question.
Yeah.
I mean, you can. Well, okay, so let me rephrase it then, since we're going to nitpick the question. Was there a difference between what Lot did and what Abraham did? Or allowed it to happen?
I mean, I had yes, then I put no, but then I just crossed it all off and put a question mark.
Okay, yes,
Well,
no,
Because
maybe
this is
so.
where I was thinking about if these were the only daughters that Lot had. Because it was like he was offering his daughters to the man because he said they had not known a man. But yet, he was talking to his sons-in-laws, so I put Lot's daughters had not known a man. But Sarah was already married to Abraham, and Abraham was just afraid that they were gonna take her anyway and kill him. So he acted out of fear when Lot was just like, I don't know if he was just afraid, he was just like, here.
Well, he was kind of afraid. He was
Yeah,
afraid that
but-
these men were going to do something to these visitors.
Right, so,
But-
But he cared more about the visitors than he did his own daughters.
Yeah. See, I'm the same. I was like kind of iffy because is it different? Yeah, it is kind of a little bit different because
Yeah.
Abraham was dishonest in how he did it.
Yeah,
But they
yeah.
were both wrong
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the fact that you're offering up your daughters for carnal privileges with men who are not their husbands means that you're going against God's commandments. So this is the way that you were supposed to do things. You're basically offering them for adultery, for prostitution,
Yeah.
and that's wrong. So they were both wrong. So there's really no difference. Sin is sin.
I said no difference. I put they were both motivated by fear.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons being in 19 verse 9, and they said, stand back. These were the men of Sodom. Then they said, this one came in here to stay here, and he keeps acting as a judge. Now we will deal worse with you than with them. So they pressed hard against the man Lot and came near to break down the door. They were going to do something. All right, they already wanted to know carnally, those angels. And now they said, we're going to deal with you worse. What in the world would be worse than what they were already going to do? So then he's like, he had already offered the daughters. He was afraid. So there was a lot of fear going on there. Abraham was afraid for his life too. So there was that whole thing. We're down in Egypt. They're gonna, if they take you, let's just make this plan now. You're my sister, and then
They're both exchanging people, like property.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whether it be daughters or your
To
wife.
save themselves.
And Abraham knew what he was doing. He may not have said, "Oh, I offer you my wife," but he absolutely knew by saying, "Tell him that
Yeah.
you're my sister." That was exactly what was going to happen. She was a beautiful woman, obviously, because everybody wants her,
Yeah.
and he knew that she was going to be taken as one of Abimelech's wives.
I will tell you this. Some people say, no, there was a big difference. I don't know. I disagree with it, but that's just my
Sin is
opinion.
sin.
I think they were both motivated by fear. But we do see in both instances, dealing with Pharaoh and dealing with Abimelech, God intervened
Yes.
through both. So
Again,
could be.
I somewhat think, again, we're throwing a lot under the bus here. He was trying to save people that he thought were angels, I guess. Isn't that something he should at least be credited for, as opposed
No,
to?
I'm throwing both of them under the bus. I mean,
He's trying to save these angels, which he knows are people from God.
But if he knew that, then why didn't he trust God to protect God's people? Like, if he knew that.
So, we're sitting here thinking today, and we're rethinking this whole deal.
well, a lot of it's happening on the fly.
That's true.
So, I mean, it's like, yeah. And so
But he wanted to
he was a
save
human who made a
Okay,
really
he didn't
bad
want to-
decision.
He didn't want to kill
Right,
himself.
yeah.
And he was trying to save what he thought were a couple of holy men.
Yeah.
So he offered everything he could to save them.
And culturally speaking,
She didn't think he was right.
Yeah,
well, culturally thinking, but it didn't make it right. Culturally thinking, though, I mean, he offered them his daughters, which were property, right? They were so. But I think I'm more throwing Abraham under the bus than I am Lot, because I think Abraham
Because Abraham
was just as bad. But everybody, but doesn't everybody elevate Abraham? He was Father Abraham. He was like, he's held up to a higher standard than Lot.
Abraham had that plan before they got in there.
I mean, Abraham's kind of elevated over Lot, right? He's Father Abraham, everybody, and then Lot. What do we think about Lot? Oh, he lived in Sodom and Gomorrah, right? He was,
And
so we,
his sons and
yeah.
his daughters.
Yeah, so I-
even though he didn't know
I-
at first, but like,
so I'm not really picking on Lot. I feel like I'm more picking on Abraham. But anyway, but they're both humans, and they both made.
yeah,
But-
They don't make mistakes.
And so lessons learned from those two is even good people make mistakes, and God intervened. So we're,
Maybe he thought in offering the daughters, I mean, these men wanted men. I mean, maybe he thought offering the daughters, they'd be like, oh, we don't want.
well, they said no, but maybe they'd be slaves or something. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe someday you can ask Lot. I don't know. Go ahead.
I said that they were both wrong, both fear of being killed, and lack of trust that God would protect them. But Lot did it in a heated moment, in a moment of despair. Not that it's right, but Abraham didn't offer, but pre-planned in every city, and he just let it all happen.
So I think we have a hard time. Like, there's a different. You can do crimes in the heat of moments, right? And then sometimes you can do a crime off the cuff by emotion or reaction. And the judicial system views it differently, doesn't it? Premeditated as opposed to, so, yeah.
Yeah, I put yes to the answer. It says Lot was trying to save the angels, Abraham was trying to save himself. It's basically the same thing. That's how
yeah.
I'm not a keen thinker.
Yeah,
Came
yeah,
across it.
yeah.
But anyway, that's.
So there would be some differing reasons maybe why they did it. Yeah. So I guess if you look at it from that perspective, there would be a difference. All right, we're going to move into question 3.
I guess that's why they thought.
Yeah.
It's great
And,
discussion.
And you may never come to a full answer for it. All right, question 3. Question 3 goes to, ooh, I hear chuckles.
Okay. I apologize, I forgot that Vera and Rachel were not on the wheel. Chuck pointed it out, like, just on question 2.
When you
But
said,
it's-
you didn't get one.
Yeah, Vera, just like yours,
Laura.
Laura. It's my name again. It's Laura, the name again. Pass.
I don't know.
'Cause I
Vera,
didn't answer
Vera,
this
Vera, do you want question 3 since your name has just been recently added to the bill? All right, so what was the difference in the way Abimelech and Pharaoh treated Abraham after they each had learned the truth about Sarah?
Both were kind of angry at first.
Okay.
Pharaoh sent him away immediately. He gave him back his wife and was like, "Get out of here."
Okay.
And Abimelech, he gave him back his wife, some things to honor him, and he kind of was like, "Hey, you could stay in the land somewhere." So.
All right, excellent.
I had added that Pharaoh didn't reprimand either one of them. I mean, he
Well,
was
that's
mad.
true,
He's
yeah.
like, leave. But Abimelech's like, reprimand, like, so maybe they would have learned their lesson if Pharaoh had reprimanded them.
That's a good point. I mean,
Well,
it
they
did.
did yell at them, why'd you do this?
Yeah,
Both
yeah.
of them yelled at them, why did you do this? But
Yeah,
Pharaoh
but
was
Yeah.
like,
he
"Just
wasn't
leave."
like,
But then,
this was a sin, what are you doing, you know? God's not pleased with you.
Pharaoh was, he was angry, he was concerned with his personal safety, and he drove him away.
Just get out.
Yeah, and then,
Abimelech had more of a discussion about
Yeah,
it.
I-
A lot more
yeah.
discussion about it. Like, hey, and by the way, I want you to answer for this. Why'd you do this thing? And he gave Abraham a chance to respond. And
I put that in my notes as well, that one of the key differences was there was a discord, right, or discourse. They had that discussion back and forth, and then Abimelech did make things right. All right. Anybody got anything extra? Chloe, you got anything extra? You can do that. That's no, okay. All right, so we're gonna move on to question 4. This one's probably gonna go to Rachel.
Rachel.
Like, I skated through this, oh.
See, you're gonna,
Almost on Vera.
she's gonna get really upset with Chuck for mentioning this. So Rachel, if someone sins ignorantly, even with pure motives, are they held accountable for their sins? And then we included a verse here, Hosea 4, verse 6. Did anybody read Hosea 4, 6?
Yes.
Yeah. Does anybody want to read it real quick now? Can somebody turn over there real quick?
I had
Yeah.
it a minute ago.
This will give, Rachel, this will give you a minute to be thinking of the. If someone sins ignorantly, even with pure motives, are they held accountable for their sins?
My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge because you have rejected knowledge. I also will reject you from being priest for me because you have forgotten the law of your God. I also will forget your children.
So was Israel going to be punished even though they didn't know? And by that point, the reason that they didn't know is because they weren't being taught. So what do you think, Rachel? If someone sins ignorantly, are they going to be held accountable for those sins?
They should be. Even if they didn't know they were doing it, it's still a thing you should tell them that they're doing wrong. That way they don't make the same mistake in the future.
Okay. So like Pharaoh, right, should have told Abraham and Sarah that was wrong.
And then they might not have repeated it.
And Isaac wasn't born yet, and Isaac later on repeats that same sin.
So it's like, why didn't you teach your kid?
Yeah, so I wonder why
Go
Abraham didn't
with
teach
two
Isaac.
rulers
Yeah,
and- yeah.
yeah. All right.
Lack of knowledge isn't an excuse.
It's not, there's no, I put in my notes, there's no such thing as ignorance is bliss.
And I also use,
If-
we have an example like when you go to another country, you're expected to know the laws of the land. And just because you're ignorant of it, because you haven't grown up with those laws, you had a responsibility going into that land to learn all you had to learn about what their laws are. And if you choose not to learn it, you're still held accountable if you break a law. And you don't get an excuse, well, I didn't know the law. Now, I mean, attorneys will use it to try to help you get out of it, but you'll still do some jail time. or
Well,
get some
I think of that
fine.
young guy in the
Yeah, Sri Lanka.
90s. Yeah, he did the graffiti or something, or
Yeah, he
spit.
he
Yeah.
spit gum
And
on
then-
the sidewalk.
And then he was caned, like
Yeah.
they, so,
Everything.
Didn't
even-
someone touch a pyramid and then they were like.
Yes.
well, there was that lady down in
Yeah.
Mexico somewhere, and she climbed the
Yeah.
pyramid, and I don't know about death, they arrested her. But even in this country, if you're driving down the road
And
and you
doesn't
don't know what the
matter,
speed
well,
limit,
I didn't know the speed limit. The police officer's like, well,
Yeah.
there's signs, it's not our fault. You didn't
Yeah.
know if you're driving on a road. It's your responsibility to find out what the speed limit is.
so I'm going to give you a couple cross references. Psalm 19, verse 12. David talks about wanting forgiveness for. The way it's worded there is secret faults, but if you look up that phrase, secret faults, it means sin hidden from ourselves. And then another cross reference, 1 Corinthians 4, verse 4. Paul said his conscience was clear, but that didn't prove that he was right. He said ultimately it's God who decides that. God's the judge of that. So, but he said he had a clear conscience. But even there was part in didn't Paul say that he served with a clear conscience even before becoming a Christian? So he was killing Christians with a clean conscience, but it didn't make it right. He would have been held accountable
Because he's still
in the
not
judgment.
doing God's work.
Yeah. So there's no, if there was such thing as ignorance is bliss, then we shouldn't be teaching anybody, right? Yeah, and so that's false, very false. All right, thank you, Rachel, for that great answer. Did good. All right, the next one's probably going to go to Chloe. So I hope.
It's gonna come to me.
Well, the question.
Apparently, I am the fan favorite. Oh, the other Laura.
Laura Hopcroft. All right. So there are some disgusting things that take place, right, in these two chapters. So why study these chapters?
Well, deep thinker that I put, it teaches us that there are consequences for our bad actions.
That is definitely one of the.
I just put it's
Boy.
still for our learning and what not.
What not to do. You know,
I
I'm gonna-
added that God, there are things in these chapters that it's very clear God never condoned, authorized, accepted, and he will never tolerate them.
I added that even good people mess up, have fear, peer pressure, and stumble. Hopefully Abraham and Sarah learned from their mistakes, and Lot.
Right. So many great lessons, right?
Yes.
I put God's justice and mercy, right? When we see the justice in Sodom and Gomorrah, we see the merciful side of him willing to save Lot and his family, the importance of obedience, right? We talked about Lot's wife. Don't look back. She didn't obey. And we get some insight into sin, right? More specifically, sexual sins. And some people have argued, well, Sodom and Gomorrah wasn't destroyed because of sexual sins. But, you know, they say it's because of pride and inhospitality. I will say this. Sin is rooted in pride. And so sexual sin is rooted in pride, right, because it goes against God. And this is about self-gratification. We have another lesson, dangers of living amongst the wicked. You remember how Lot was described in 2 Peter 2, verses 6 through 9? He's described as being a righteous man, but his soul was vexed because he lived amongst the people.
When you read it, then you realize just how bad it is. Whereas you don't have much thought about it ahead of time. But once you read it, you think, oh my gosh, that's so bad.
Yeah.
You know, why did they do that?
What verse was that?
2 Peter 2, verses 6 through 9. And it's really, there's a whole paragraph there. But anyway, And then I just jotted down forgiveness. We learn about forgiveness here in this chapter, or these chapters. God's forgiveness, other people having forgiveness on, Abimelech forgiving. Abimelech probably could have just killed Abraham and Sarah. And then,
They both could.
I mean, Pharaoh could have. But Abimelech clearly had at that point some respect for God. And he believed he was going to be a dead man. If God visits you in a dream and says you're a dead man,
Yeah.
you probably have every right to be concerned. All right.
But I mean, you look at like the Moses and the plagues and stuff. I mean, like the hardness of his heart compared to, I mean, this dream. It took one dream, and he's like, I want to wash my hands of all of
Abimelech,
this.
yeah. And pharaohs come and go, and different pharaohs and beliefs and different things. I should have mentioned this. Abimelech, maybe one of you guys know this. Abimelech seems to be a term for a king as opposed to the official name. Like Pharaoh's not there. There's all kinds of different pharaohs. I think there was different Abimelechs. But anyway, very good. Any other thoughts?
No, but before we pray, my mom sent me a text message that said, tell everybody happy Thanksgiving, and my dad had another significant amount of fluid drained out his lungs today. That's where she.
I remember in my first paper that I put, that as bad as things are today, in today's world, that they were just as bad back then. There's nothing
And-
new happening today
yeah.
that hasn't happened already.
Yeah,
We just have better news coverage.
yeah,
Nothing new under the
Or
sun.
worse
Yeah.
news coverage, depending on how you look at
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
yeah. And that's true. And that's
So now that the fluid's drained, maybe your dad will feel better.
well. Sometimes we get into that.
It's a fluid drain not that long ago, so it's.
Dark, we feel dark, it's gloomy, like, woe is us, things are bad, right? Like really bad. And they are, but they've always been bad, right? Humanity's, it shows the I guess you could say the depravity of humanity, the wickedness of humanity.
And it was so bad. God destroyed everything with the flood. So I mean, back then, it was probably just.
Well,
as
just
bad as
wonder how bad,
this.
wonder how much worse it was in Noah's day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. All right. Very good.
Lots of good discussion.
Yeah, and I keep looking up at that clock and it throws me off. Anyway,
It's not sad.
it's well, no, it's about 3, 4, 5 minutes off a little bit, I think. So anyway, all right, we'll end class there,
I want to add before prayer.
Mr. Glenn. Yeah,
That we found out that my dad's infection is it's not an allergy, it's staph infection. So it's
Thought,
really
I saw
bad.
it. Oh.
So, and the medicines they gave him were for allergy, not for, so
So
something
they've
was
had an extra
different,
3 days
so,
of it.
yeah.
and I think,
And an IV,
No, he's at home.
he needs an IV
And
treatment, antibiotic treatment.
and I think he said he's had this before, didn't he?
He said he's like 5-6 years ago, he had a staph infection in his foot. So he's like, maybe this is like a flare up or something.
Oh, it is.
Nobody
Well, once you get staph, and because everybody has staph on them, but once
That's
you
not
have
everyone
it,
that's
you're
bad.
susceptible. You're very susceptible to getting it again because I get it constantly. And I'm like, oh, I remember the first time I got it. I was like, but I'm a clean person. My doctor's like, honey, it has nothing to do with being clean. Some people are just more susceptible. You get a cut, and it's there. So once you get it, you are likely to have flare-ups of it every once in a while. So.
It's, yeah. All right, Glenn, we'll let you close us out.
Our great and kind Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and thank you so very much that we could come here tonight and have this class. We pray that you continue to be with our brother Brian as he comes up with these lessons for us, and be with us as we try to learn stuff that he attempted to teach us. We pray, Lord, that you be with the congregation, and be with everything we do here. We pray a special blessing on all of our sick. I specifically want to mention, please continue to be with John Barker, be with Junior Thacker, be with Dawn Thornton, be with Jody's father who's got the foot infection, and pray that you, with anybody else that would know, or don't know they're sick, and certainly be with them. We also pray that you be with everybody as they travel about on this holiday, that they go and come back and be safely with us. Pray that you watch over us now and forgive us for our sins. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving, you two.